It's really helping that person to reach their highest and best in whatever role they're serving.
And I think mentoring is twofold. I think we need to have a mentor that is seasoned and be able to espouse information back to us. And I think we need to have a mentor that is emerging, because there's a lot of information to espouse upwards as well. And that's the dynamic that I'm encouraging downtown.
So how do you find these people, or how do they find you? How do they know there's such a thing called Intriciti, or that there's other people out there who they can connect with and support?
Mama 101.
And, yeah, like how do they even, I mean, in these busy places, how do they find that?
Well, we don't do any formal advertising. Two ways in which people find out about us. One is just general word of mouth, and the other is events. We really create events so people can bring guests, so it's an invitational approach to an introduction to Intriciti.
Like, so what sort of events do you do?
Sure. Well, we do an annual Christmas event entitled Bells on Bay Street. We have a partnership with Tyndale entitled the Leadership Exchange, and we look at different leadership issues or different types of events such as that.
I've been to your very early morning breakfast in Bay Street.
7 a.m.
I know, coming from here was very painful.
Yeah.
But those are really wonderful. And generosity, you mentioned, is something that you try to build into people. Tell me how you do that.
Well, I think the most important way to start is to invite them to participate in something. So every year we have a different philanthropic project, and we partner with a different charitable organization. So we've done a CEO Build for Habitat for Humanity, a CEO Night on the Town with Youth Unlimited, and we just invite a selected group of individuals to experience philanthropy. And my hope is that they then would bring that back to their organization.
Well, I remember one event, your Bells on Bay Street event I went to, you were doing a walk with the homeless, or through areas of homelessness with CEOs. Tell me about that. That was so interesting.
It was so life-changing for each of them, and I think for so many of them they had children, and it really resonated within their hearts that could have been their child. And there's one individual downtown that actually their child is on the street. And so I think it was just a gentle reminder of God's blessings upon each one of those individuals. But what was so powerful was just the debriefing experience after. And that, those individuals then have the opportunity to then look at their corporate plans and their philanthropic plans. And I know a lot of organizations are now, part of their development plans is actually incorporating philanthropy as part of their staff development plans, which I think is inspiring. It's something we need to be doing as ministry organizations too.
Noblesse oblige, the responsibility to give back if you've been blessed.
Absolutely.
Well, you say that one of your key points is to help these organizational leaders move from success to significance. Tell us about that.
Well, success, meaning money, prestige, status, and significance, and that can be different things to different people. For me personally, and what I'm aspiring for them to do is to turn away from all of that and to reflect and commit their lives to Christ. For me, that has personally made such a significant difference in my own life, and that lives of other business leaders that I know, providing them peace and a sense of direction and wisdom that they've never had before.
Good stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, with the giving, I'm wondering if the economic downturn has impacted that at all, because I know that you've been so great at hooking up corporations with great causes, and I know that's a passion of yours. Are you finding that that's a little bit more difficult now and everyone's tightening their belt, especially companies?
There is a tightening, but I still find that there's a radical generosity on Bay Street that's often not spoken of. I think Bay Street is often perceived as greed, but I think if people don't have the funds, they're looking for other ways in which they can give to organizations, such as their employees' time or any resources that they might have within their organizations as well.
Able to give on every occasion. Hold God to that.
Well, I remember when we did our Habitat build, we met some people from different organizations who a number of times a year kind of set their employees free, if they so choose, to go do something in the community, and they were telling me all the different things they'd done over the years. And I love that idea. I thought that was brilliant.
And I know it's actually part of organizations' recruiting techniques now, that a lot of emerging leaders, when they graduate from university and college, are actually challenging the employer and asking them, what are you doing for the community? And that's one of the things
how they evaluate whether they want to go in that direction.
Yeah. Well, I also did a story on Benjamin Osei, who's a youth worker in Jane Finch, and one of the Bay Street firms has subsidized his summer day camp that he runs for these kids. And not only do they subsidize this day camp so that it's so easy for parents to send their children there for summer, they also take the kids, a select amount of kids, in a limousine to the firm to give them a tour around, to show this is what you can aspire to if you apply yourself, if you to show them that there's other options out there. And I agree with you when you say that businesses don't always get this kind of recognition for what they do in the community. And I think that's true among churches as well, that churches sometimes don't view businesses in that positive way either.
And I think as a supplier and a consumer, I think, I know personally I'm looking for organizations that are giving back, that are being socially responsible, and that's a criteria as a consumer for me personally.
I agree, actually. I remember buying a mattress and I wanted to go with a specific company that I knew gave mattresses to women's shelters who were being abused. And I just thought, well, it's all the same brands, so why not buy from one that is actually making a difference in the community. I actually do think that way, and I think a lot of people maybe are like me, I'm hoping. Well, you talked a lot about Bay Street, Toronto, and I know you've built up quite a ministry there. Any thoughts about going across Canada? Lots of other business centers across Canada.
I've given a lot of thought to it, and when we rolled out, this will be our 5-year anniversary on April the 4th, and when we launched, I had a whole plan, but it's changed. I do feel a sense of responsibility as a wife, a mother, a daughter, a friend. And I also believe that the vision can expand by franchising the information off, by not having the name Intriciti. It's by sharing, I think, firstly, where we failed, and then sharing our best practices. And I think we need to be humble enough to share our failures, because that's how we learn.
Well, you say that you have, in Intriciti, you have 5 core values. They are authentic faith, innovation, excellence, servant leadership, and strategic partnership. And that's really what you're doing on a regular basis, is helping these organizations to have strategic partnerships, to help each other, but ultimately to start out with an authentic faith in God. Because really that's the platform, that's the foundation that we all need to start out from. When I was reading your core values, I was thinking to myself, what? Families could have those as their core values. A family could sit down and say, now we need a mission statement as a family. We need some values that we all believe in, that we all work towards. And so your core values are just so right on target that I think we can all incorporate them, even not just in the big Bay Street community.
When my husband and I were married, we actually defined what our family values would be, and we review those each year, and each year we have a family theme.
Wow.
Like a mission statement.
That's great.
Each year a family theme.
So is that like having a business plan for your marriage? Like a business plan, like writing it up,
I think we need to we need to invest in what's important to us. And so we've chosen to invest in our marriage.
A lot of people have a verse for the year, a scripture verse that's their focus for the year. And we do have a biblical mandate to sow into God's kingdom. It's God's responsibility to give the increase. Like the farmer, he sows the seed. He can't control the weather. We can't control the stock market, what's going to happen next week, next month, next year. But that, you know what I brought? I had to bring this today because
more show and tell. That's okay, Maura. We count on you for it.
This is fresh from Israel. This is a widow's mite. And Jesus said she gave more than all the others who gave big time because she gave out of her poverty. And I just think that's, as we talk about philanthropy, is a frightening word for some people right now. But the concept of giving is for all of us. And God promises rewards when we trust Him, test Him in this. And I just want everybody to feel included today.
And I think sometimes it's not even just giving out of the poverty of funds, it's giving out of the poverty of spirit. And I see, some individuals that are, suffering in silence, but yet are so gracious and exhibiting God's joy and trying to encourage another.
Well, Alana, we just want to bless you and encourage you in what you're doing. Now, your website, if you want to find out more about Alana and what she's up to, her website is www.intriciti.ca. And so we just encourage viewers to go there and find out about this, and even, look at her core values and her passion and her purpose, and integrate that in your own personal life, because I found it very inspirational. Well, thank you for being with us. You're not going anywhere. You're going to stay on the couch for the whole hour. And when we get back, Cheryl Weber is going to show us an area of the stock market that actually reveals some much needed seeds of hope.